As we begin our reflection on the 11th station, Jesus is nailed to the cross. I want you to take a moment and think back. Was there ever a time when you were suffering? Mentally, physically, emotionally? Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe you were forced to watch someone else suffer, someone you love. Did you ever pray that the suffering would just end, either through healing or through a merciful death? It is a hard reality that many of us have faced. And yet, there is a spark in each of us, a will to live that keeps us going and offers a glimmer of hope in the midst of our darkness. I wonder, was that the experience of Jesus, the man? In his suffering, did Jesus hold out a hope to live? We know that he entered freely into his passion, but not gladly. We know this because the night before, in the garden, Matthew tells us that Jesus fell prostrate and said, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as you." Jesus would take a different path if there were another, but if it was the will of God, he would remain obedient to drink from the cup. Jesus knew that doing so would end with him on the cross. Still, in his humanity, despite the beatings and the scourging, the spitting and the ridicule, the humiliation and the crown of thorns, after carrying his cross to Golgotha, did Jesus hold on to a last bit of hope that he had endured enough and he could walk away? We can't know for certain, but whatever hope that Jesus had for physical deliverance surely ended as he was laid upon his cross, felt his limbs stretched, heard the hammer ringing. In his humanity, if Jesus to this point held out hope to survive, the depth of the sorrow is immeasurable. The point of no return was being crossed, and this hope was driven out by the driving in of the nails. Perhaps that is why from the cross, Jesus focused on the Father and prayed the prayer of an innocent person. Psalm 22. My God, why have you abandoned me?" With the 11th station, Jesus nailed to the cross, Jesus knew that the Father would require him to drink the cup and to drink it fully. Despite knowing the ending, walking with Jesus through the stations of the cross allows us to pause and to reflect on the last moments of his life. The general knowledge of the Passion is made specific. Through the stations, the suffering of Jesus cannot be seen as a singular event, but as a series of events, each of which offers us a glimpse into a moment on the way. By focusing on these moments, we allow each moment of the suffering of Jesus to have its own dignity and meaning. And in finding some meaning, we can reflect upon what it means for us. The 11th station, Jesus nailed to the cross. When you hear these words, what do they mean to you? Do they mean ultimate surrender? Maybe they mean accepting reality. Is there the thought that our cross is no longer carried, but is affixed to us? Whatever thoughts and feelings they invoke, despite them, we must understand that in this station, Jesus is united with the cross, which becomes the means of our salvation. Nailed to the cross, his arms are spread wide in his suffering to embrace us in our suffering. As we were baptized into the death of Christ, so too will we live in newness of life. It is not our suffering that we are called to embrace, but Jesus, who suffers with us, so that even in our suffering, we are never alone.